Hello, my name is Tisetso Maluma. I've been long wanting to do this video. So it got inspired by the recent talk of illegal immigration. Originally, I think before the illegal immigration situation, the marches, been wanting to do a video about innovation and economics, more so how to understand economics. So I thought, I had an interesting phrase from a lot of academics, around, I think Ndlozi also said something sort of similar. I don't mean to butcher what he said, but people were saying, rather academics, they were saying illegal immigration does not cause unemployment. And for a while there, for a bit, it made me furious. I'm like, why can someone make such a fraudulent statement? It's a hoax of a statement. It's so very convoluted and bloated. And from getting pissed, I started laughing about it. Maybe just to give a bit of a background, right? I write about innovation, entrepreneurship, economics, township economies, and I've put out several books, several articles, and I'm a practitioner. I'm an entrepreneur as well. So I always see this inductive statements, like this very convoluted statements about economics, which I say economics is a complexity, but I'll get to explaining that. They say illegal immigration does not cause unemployment, and I would say I think Ndlozi said, like I said, he said something similar to that. I don't mean to butcher his quote. I just couldn't find it on the on Twitter, but he said that you can find that. But a lot of academics also were putting their voices in that this illegal immigration thing, and I thought it's a good cause to do this video around what is economics. And I'll start. Such a statement, it's quite inductive. It's what some call an induction problem, right? I call it induction foolishness, and I would say all of us are inductively foolish. Sometimes I call it inductive stupidity. All of us are inductively stupid, including myself, most of myself. I also call it an induction syndrome, right? You see 5 men are wearing white t-shirts, therefore everyone wearing white t-shirts is a man. So it's quite inductive. You taking a statement and then you are making a conclusion, and statements can be convoluted. So let me get to it. And I notice this induction problem, it comes from, usually, most of the time, the activists and those in academia that their degrees has got science to it, business science, economic science, political science, social science. And it's not surprising that people from that world would make such statements. So to simplify, certain things can be measured, some things can't be measured, right? So let me divide it. Let's say there are two worlds, right? In one world you can measure and make theories, and then in the other world you can't do that. We call that a complex world, a complex system. So let me explain it. So I said everyone all of us are inductively foolish, we are inductively stupid, but the induction syndrome, some call it induction problem. So, but those who are in professions or at least industries or practices wherein you have to make contact with reality, I would say more so in this category it's entrepreneurs, because whatever idea you have, if it's not generating money, if you're not surviving, you're not winning. So you can't afford to be, even if you are inductively foolish, reality disproves you. And I would add to that, those in academia, those in STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, every one of us is inductively foolish, inductively stupid. So, but when you're an entrepreneur or in the STEM field, you are interacting with reality. You're governed by the laws of physics. You have to make cars, rockets, all those things have to work, and it's complicated. It's quite difficult, but nonetheless, it's not ideological, right? So everything in this world has to work. Now, in this other world, where most of academics and activists, they can be master rhetoricians, yeah, damn it, that, because they're not in contact with reality, right? And the things that they try to measure are immeasurable. There's a limit to knowledge. Certain things we can't necessarily know, but they work. I will explain the complexity of things. So engineers have to make things that have to work. Let's say, for instance, using a GPS coordinate. That calculation has to do with Einstein's theories on relativity. Whatever it is, it's quite a difficult notion. I'm not gonna explain it. Actually, every time I read it, I forget. But nonetheless, the reason GPS coordinates on your phone work, it has to do with those theories, and it's because the world, most of physical things tend to be bounded, meaning they run at a measurable rate. Like, for example, we've got 24 hours in a day, 24/7, which is 7 weeks, and 365 days of the year, and sometimes with the leap year, it's 366. Why? So the world, the way it revolves, to do with the sun, it's in a way that's bounded. You can actually measure it, hence we have time, right? We know today is going to be 24 hours. Tomorrow it's also going to be another 24 hours. So you can theorize on that. For example, let me use height. Human height is bounded. You would really meet someone who's above 2 meters. Yes, there are people who are slightly above 2 meters, but with absolute certainty, there's no person who's above 10 meters or 5 meters. I don't know if in history someone has ever been 3 meters, but you get what I mean. So it's bounded, and then because height is bounded, you can do things with it. You can average height of people around the world, it's what, 1.65 or 165 millimeters, right? So you can actually do things with it. Like what? You can make a table. You could say, I'm going to make a table that's half of the average height, which will be around 0.75, 0.85, somewhere there. So you can, with that, you can deduct that that your table will still work for humans, because our height is limited, and human height is measurable, right? So now, let's say, for example, and I'll just say it explicitly, money, for example. Let's say on this world, the things that fall on this system, there's things that you can theorize, right? Time, day, 7 a week, 7 days. You can extrapolate that. When you're making a car, you make it so that it feeds at least the average human being. Now, these are things that don't necessarily scale, or at least scale in predictable ways, right? I said height, and there are things that scale, but because they scale, they can't be represented by an aggregate. Height, for making tables, you can aggregate that. I'll use the average human height to make a table. Now, let's say you say average salary, right? Average salary of the whole country, any country, province, but at least average salary of many people, even in a company. That you can't use because it scales, and salaries are variables. They are, I guess, time dependent, skill dependent. It's a host of complexity. So one person earns 5,000, another earns 45,000. Their average is what, 25,000. You can't do anything with 25,000 because it doesn't represent neither the two people. Even if you add a third person, even if they earn 25,000, right? You can't do much with that because it scales. So things that scale, you can't aggregate them. You can't use average on them. So that's salaries, human height. You can do something with it, specific things, not all things. So the sort of the science academics, activists that have got science in their degrees: political science, social science, business science, economic science. It's not really right science. Let's restrict it to things that are measurable and you can actually theorize. But those who make, like the engineers, the entrepreneurs, they have to report to reality. Reality decides for them. But on this other field, they can build what they call skyhook theories. Theories just that are just theories. They can't be tested, and they're not testable. And then when you test them, you hurt people. I'll go back to the statement that illegal immigration doesn't cause unemployment. It's such a bloated statement, and it's very poetic. That side of academia, those people are very gifted narratively, right? Narrative fallacy. They can make things sound good. Now, back to one world, things are measurable. You can create theories with it to a point, because now you report to reality. Either it works in the real world, it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, then it's nothing. It's not. You can't. It's not a product. It's not a theory. It's not a concept. But on this side, where there's complexity, people claim they can calculate this complexity, which they can't. I'm moving the point forward. You will sort of get it. So I said things that scale then and have got variables. You can't theorize on them, right? You can't measure them, and they can't be represented by an aggregate, like an average. I talked about salary, and I'll take it to say to that the following things also, they're complex things. You can't calculate inflation. I'm comfortable with saying it. You can't calculate inflation because now you're trying to aggregate prices to represent movement in people's money. You can't do that when you're saying you can calculate inflation, because it's an aggregation. They take at least the CPI, consumer price index. They take many products, put them in a basket, and they would divide, right, and then they would use the basis point type of calculation. Nonetheless, we know inflation can't be calculated. There is inflation because prices go up and down every day for different reasons. Sometimes there's a sale, for many reasons that are inflationary. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's just promotion, like I said, with the sale. So in this world, you can't. Yes, people say they can calculate inflation. You can't calculate inflation. You can't calculate average salaries of many people. There are problems with how IQ also used, because again it tries to aggregate things. So there's a problem with IQ. Gini coefficient, it's useless. What is it? Per capita, gross, I forgot the name. That you can't all these things that you're aggregating on the scale, and they vary. They can't have any representation. That is just that. Now, so I'm talking about a fusing of variables and trying to find an aggregate for them, creating, and then for the complex things you think you can actually calculate them. So let me make this first point. Varying things that scale can't have an aggregate, like I said, with average salary. And in a statement, right, when you are putting, let's say illegal immigration does not cause unemployment, right? I say that is induction. That's like saying 5 people are wearing white t-shirts, they are men, and therefore everyone wearing a t-shirt is a man. That's nonsense, you can see, right? So let's deduct that statement that illegal immigration does not cause unemployment. Let's deduct it. As an entrepreneur who writes and researches, I know illegal immigration has contributed to unemployment. How? In various ways, but one way is that, let's say, for example, illegal immigrants, they don't have an ID, or somehow some of them manipulate the immigration laws of the country, claiming asylum. So it is clear that say Joburg CBD, Pretoria CBD, a lot of illegal immigrants operate businesses, and those businesses are not in the image of South Africans. They break a lot of bylaws, right? So it's a lost opportunity for South Africans who, this example, you can take it anywhere. I'm just using South Africa as an example, right? South Africans are quite structured in how they start businesses. I remember Joburg CBD at a point where there were bookshops, businesses that pay tax, abided by the law. Obviously not always the case, but for the most part, right? And now town, to a point, is a shithole, because bylaws are being broken, and you could say there's also corruption with home affairs. So illegal immigrants, because they are illegal, they will bribe police, they will bribe home affairs people, and they will do rentals, some crazy setup rentals. I was looking at the marble towers there the other day. Those structures are illegal, and they were removed by, at least a court order was granted. So for the many years where illegal immigrants have been coming to the country, setting up those sort of businesses that break bylaws, that sell whatever they sell, that's a lost opportunity for South African entrepreneurs to have opened shops in town and tested their businesses, because a shop usually in a town, well, not all the time, but it will be cheaper than in a mall, and then there's just more traffic in town because people are going about their business and they'll pass by and see your shop. So in a mall, people who will see your business is people who've gone to the mall. They were not passing by just for whatever. So that opportunity has been lost for South Africans to have businesses and test them out in town and have an opportunity for those businesses to get attention of passers-by. So a lot of opportunity has been lost for South Africans to start structured businesses and test them in town. Maybe they'll be they'll go national, have success, and be national, maybe be international. So that opportunity is there. So illegal immigration has caused unemployment, or at least the opportunity for people to have businesses and test businesses, and whether they work or not, businesses fail. Those who succeed tend to do so at a at a scale, at a large exponential scale. So that opportunity definitely has been lost. So this statement that illegal immigration does not create unemployment, therefore it's pseudo-intellectual. No wonder it comes from people in a field where they are not in touch with reality. And again, people would prefer to hire illegal immigrants because now they can undercut sort of the minimum wages and pay them less. So South Africans have been shunned out of jobs because of illegal immigrants. So that statement is very convoluted, and you have illegal immigration does not cause unemployment. Those are varying concepts, related, but again independent, right? Because it's a complex system. You don't really know where it's going, but it's a system. So that statement is false. Again, here's the danger with illegal immigrants. Now, there are so many cases of people who were robbed. I've got family members that were, attacked by illegal, illegal immigrants. There's a crime of spiking cars on the road, but this time, my relatives, I think rocks were put on the road, and then the car was damaged. When they stopped, they were robbed, and one of my uncles was severely harmed, and that's just that. Now, how can they tell that these people are illegal? Because of accents. You can tell this person comes from Xhosa, is Zulu, this one comes from Zimbabwe, this one comes from West Africa. People can tell. So these intellectuals actually think everyone is stupid and they are the smartest, because they have to push narratives, because, well, at least they're at leisure and that their concepts can be tested, and then they can make all these fancy statements, because if any concept, any notion has to be tested by reality. So they can take time making all these fancy type of statements, thinking they know how to analyze the world. But now I'm just showing you that things that are complex, you can prove them, you can disprove them through deduction. What can you deduct? Like I just said, the concept that illegal immigration causes